Well, this is the thing. I've chosen this trilogy specifically because it broke my heart twice. And it's the Mass Effect trilogy. And
twice?
Yes, because the first time is that I fell in love with Tali. Like, it's just like, she is like one of the best sort of like characters in video game for me because she was very kind, she was supportive, interesting race. So obviously she was my romance option throughout the entire franchise. So to actually have to say goodbye to her was pretty hard. It was just kind of like, this is sad. I looked at my real life girlfriend and I was like, you're not like that. You don't wear a mask much. And I'm just there like,
it's never going to be the same.
Yeah, it's never going to be the same. So saying goodbye is kind of like the thread of this, because it's like getting through all of the Mass Effect games, getting to the final sections, realizing that you've spent like over 100 hours, 150 hours, like if you're going through all of the games, doing all the side missions to get to that final point, and for them to drop the ball so bloody hard was genuinely heartbreaking. To stand there and watch that dopey little twat say to you, pick one of these 3 endings, brother. It was just like, it wasn't fun for anyone. So I'm just there like, imagine all of the armor, like upgraded, special weapons, my team behind me, leading the force. Got there, it's like, how is this space opera gonna end, my friend? One of 3 choices, which color do you like? It's just kind of like genuinely gutted. So I went into hibernation, space, deep space, and now I've heard rumblings. Mass Effect Andromeda. Oh my God, it's coming back. It's gonna be brilliant. The heart would be remade again, and I would be going out there into space and doing what I do, plowing alien races all across the galaxy. And then PB happened.
Want some floating rocks, mate?
No, I don't. So yeah, never love again is basically the short story of this, because everything you will love will die or turn on you. Happy Valentine's Day.
We'll bang, okay?
We'll bang, okay?
Okay.
I love the way you could almost like give the intonation of like he's annoyed, like trying to do his taxes. We'll bang, okay, later, just...
This is kind of a really hard one to say because as anyone who looked at my PlayStation watch time in the WhatCulture office at the end of last year will know, I've played an awful lot of Rainbow Six Siege, and even people on the channel know that I love that game to death. I played it so much, but the onus is on the word played, because one thing that I've had to grow kind of accustomed to over the last console generation is that video game online shooters, they change a lot over the course of development, and there comes a point in every, game's lifespan where they'll change the meta, and at a point you'll just be like, well, everything I learned is a lie. It's all not right. I was good at this character, and now you've made them too good, and now everyone's playing them, and now I can't play them, and that's not fair. It's not fair, and it happens all the time. It happened in Rainbow Six Siege, where they made everyone ridiculous, and they brought in all these different gadgets, and I was just like, well, I don't even know. I'm just a lowly, I remember the days I just chuck an EMP against the wall, and that'll blow up the bandit and mute charges, and that'd be fine. But now you got electric zap things that get fired everywhere, you got little sonic boom things that push you everywhere, you got all sorts, and now there's a sporting event going on. I don't even know what's going on with Rainbow Six Siege anymore. It upsets me a great deal. Same goes for Overwatch. I loved playing Overwatch when it first came out. I played all sorts of different characters. I had like my own, I knew the meta, honestly. I knew the meta, I had it right here. I knew everything about it. And then they were like, well, D.Va's not going to make D.Va better. I was like, but I thought D.Va was fine. I was playing as D.Va. I was having a good time. They made her really good, and they made everyone else ridiculously good, and they changed people's abilities, and they did this, and they did that. And the whole thing I think about this is I understand that multiplayer games have to change to, for balancing reasons. There are always things that, whenever a multiplayer game comes out, there's always some, issue to do with balance, and if your name's not Activision, you're actually going to fix it. And that's the thing that happens with most developers. My issue currently with a lot of multiplayer games, after I've been with them for a very, very long time, and the relationship collapses, is that they change for the sake of changing. I feel as though the developers get bored and they're just like, well, let's just make this character really, really good for no reason, and then we'll make this one really, really bad, even though we kind of had everything right. We had a good thing going. We threw it all away because we got bored. And that's what happened with Rainbow Six Siege and Overwatch, and I've never been the same man ever again.
So I used to play a lot of Payday 2 back in the day with a bunch of my friends, and we genuinely used to play it like almost every single day of our, well, not of our lives, but every day that we could, basically. And yeah, it's a really good game. And if you don't know what it is, it's basically bank robbing the game. You can rob banks, as I just said, jewelry stores, you can rob nightclubs, you can rob like big security places, areas and stuff like that. And it's got a lot of depth to it, and it's honestly a lot of fun. And you've got the freedom of choice where you can like take it safe, you can take it as a stealthy approach, or you can take it as a loud approach, like you literally just go in guns blazing and the police and SWAT army and stuff like that just come in and stop you, essentially. It's a really good game. But back in 2015, they brought out a loot box system where you could buy a drill for £1.60 and then unlock a crate, which will give you guns. Now, usually it wouldn't be a big deal. Like in CSGO, for example, it's just cosmetic, like it doesn't enhance the gameplay. But every single game that you, every single gun that you unlock has different buffs and different, like makes the guns more powerful, essentially. And this was back in the day where microtransactions were kind of new, but people were becoming more aware of it. Now, when the news broke about it, we just all uninstalled it, and all of the time spent trying to level our characters and trying to learn the game on all the levels was kind of wasted, really. It just kind of like broke our hearts in a way. I'd really love to play it nowadays. I think they've gotten rid of it, but the whole thing about the microtransactions just doesn't sit right with me.
What video game broke your heart?
It's got to be Death Stranding, because before Death Stranding, I loved Hideo Kojima. I still love Hideo Kojima, I think. I don't really want to say that I don't love him. Death Stranding's terrible. Sorry. Sorry.
You were so in love with it though to begin with.
The gameplay is great, and it builds so well, and it has all these beautiful qualities about how you have to come together and you want to rebuild America together. All that stuff is stellar. There's so many great gameplay ideas in there. Built on the idea that at the end of Metal Gear 5: The Phantom Pain, it was like, look, we're only going to get this world peace cutscene if literally every single player chooses to not make a nuke. How much of a great comment is that on the fact that we're never going to have complete nuclear disarmament? Good stuff, Kojima, great stuff. Took that idea, made a whole game out of it, love it. Story though, complete shit. And I absolutely hate that I ever cared in the first place, because one of the worst things a game can ever do is make you embarrassed that you gave a shit in the first place. And by the time you get to the end, when it's just this complete turgid crap where like Sam is going up to Amelie, who he's been chasing the whole game, and you get told like 2 hours before that she didn't even exist or something. It doesn't make any sense at all. And you find that you get up to her in like the beach, this alternate universe, and he talks to her, and she explains that like, he's bound to her. I can't even remember, to be honest, but it's a load of crap. And then he says, oh, so I'm Sam, I'm Mario, and you're Princess Peach. And then because they're in like a beach, she's like, oh, I'm Princess Beach. And I'm like, you. That is terrible.
Wait, is that actually something that happens?
That's something that happens. And what comes after that is they then cut to slow motion where the two of them run on a beach in slow motion. It's absolute shit.
You're making this.
No, it's absolute shit. And I literally, me and my wife, because we played through the whole thing together, we watched that and she turned to me and she went, what's happening? Like, what? Like, this is what you had. This is what we're building to. And there's a really good comment in there, obviously, like I said before, about coming together and build the world, blah, blah, blah. But like, it pretty much ends with the same sentiment it starts with. And there's so much noodly bollocks about just stretching all these points out for all this, oh, what if a god cared and all this different stuff. Make the most of the life that you've got. And like, yeah, obviously, like, just do something with that. Don't just... I hate the end of that, and it retroactively made me think I wasted my entire time with it.
I enjoy that you basically just said, like, make the most of your time and the most of your life by watching like a 2-hour cutscene.
Yeah, well, that's another thing, is that he can't, he's like, Kojima's like, oh, once you've gone open world, you can't go back. And I was like, well, maybe, yeah. And so, like, Phantom Pain, beautiful game. Gameplay is great, story's a bit waning. And then in Death Stranding, it was like, well, he did all the open world stuff, he stretched all the cutscenes out, and then when he got to the end, he's like, nah, I'm gonna do a 2-hour cutscene anyway. And he's just like, here's all the plot points, here's everything, I kind of want to do both sides. I can't decide what I want to be, so I'll do everything. I haven't got an editor or a producer. No one's going to listen to me. The guy that I used to work with for the last 10 years has left because he can't stand me anymore. And so I've just got to do as much as I can. And I think I love that ambition. I love unrestrained artistry, and I like seeing what comes out of a mind like his, but at the same time, fully valid to be like, that's a complete mess, and you could have tightened it up so much more. I hate it. I hate the end of it. I hate it so much. Oh my God, right? Another one, just to throw it in. Speaking of Cliffs, there's a character called Cliff. Do you know why he's called Cliff? No. Because Sam saved him from walking over a cliff. Metaphorically, not literally, but like he's all down and out and everything. He's like, Sam, you're the one that saved me. I almost went over that cliff. And it's like, oh, that's why you're called Cliff.
But that doesn't make any sense. How do you name somebody after an event that's happened?
Even the big time travel-y bendy twist at the end makes no sense either. There's a bit where like a character's in two places at once when a gunshot goes off, and they pretend that like that did happen in the past, but it also happened in the remixed future. It'll make sense to the people who have played it, but it doesn't really make sense because nothing makes any sense in that game. Princess Beach, mate.
I know, that's
Princess f***ing Beach. Jesus Christ.
Video game? No video game broke my heart. He did! Scott Tilford sitting in this chair, slagging off my game of the generation about its story. I had to sit there, heart in my mouth, watching Scott, you know.
Like Princess Beach?
Look, don't make me admit I like Princess Beach on camera. I don't want to do it.
You're broken.
I'm broken. You know what? You've smashed me into a million pieces here. My heart was once big and bountiful and bursting, and now
like
it's shriveled. It's gone. It's dead.
Oh, that bit when he scratches on the record with his banner, is it?
But also, Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4, I have a thing for dual domesticity in games. I like just watching people in relationships not have any fun, which is why I love Marriage Story in Netflix last year. And I didn't know I needed Nathan Drake to be sort of sad and out of the game and living a boring life until I got Uncharted 4. And his relationship with Elena, for me, was always a great part of that series, but it was never really fleshed out. She was just kind of there for them to break up and get back together in different games. But this one, they actually had to commit to seeing what happened when he settled down and they got married. And I love the way this plays out. You pick up with him at first and he's kind of just living this life. They're on the couch playing Crash Bandicoot together. There's no real excitement, but there is, there's that sort of familiarity and there's the love there. And then he just starts lying to her again like he's done for the past 3 games, and he takes off with his brother and Sully to go on an adventure. And obviously she's not thick, so she susses it out. And there's this great scene about halfway through where Sully and Sam, they come back, having just blown up a truck, I think, and they're all jolly and stuff, and they open the door to the hideout, and she's there because she's tracked them down, and she sort of turns around, and there's this excellent moment where she's crying. And I remember at the time thinking, like, this was the best video game performance ever, because it actually convincingly made me think that she was emotional and crying. And there's an excellent sort of look where not much is said, but like the trust is broken, she's properly found him out. And it's just a moment of quiet, and it's not an explosive scene as much, but you can just tell that something is fractured, and then for the rest of the game you worry whether or not it's actually going to be able to be repaired, because these are actual human beings at the end of the day, even though he does kill small armies every single game. And they try to work it out, and watching them sort of rebuild that quite naturally over the course of the game was just heartbreaking, and every single moment they shared after that was excellent, and some of the best parts of that entire series for me. Oh.
She's his Princess Beach, mate.
She's his Princess Beach. They can run across the beach together. My headcanon, just swap Death Stranding out, put it Nathan Drake and Elena. Jobs are good, done.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Now, if you want more chatty faces, why not watch through the rest of our playlist? But I just want to say a big thank you to the brilliant channel sponsors for voting on this week's chatty question. And if you want to join the vote, then why not consider hitting the join button and becoming a sponsor today? And we will see you next week. Bye!